I think it is safe to say, but to also be fair to all of us is, that's not new. I mean, that's been since the beginning of
Right.
time. I mean, when we look at the story of Jesus, he's coming up against that, in his own ministry. And so I think that's what he was saying in Matthew 7:3-5. And so it's always been there, but it's a lot like a lot of things in our society today that have always been there. But what hasn't been there is everyone with a camera in their pocket. You know what I mean? And so now what we can see is more access and more viewpoints for that judgment. And so there are people walking the streets, literally putting microphones in the faces of people and preaching on the streets in a condemning way that ultimately, I think, damages the view of Christianity.
Yeah, but at its core, the word of God is going to violate our flesh.
Mm.
It says it divides what us soul and spirit. Um, the word of God is a violation to our selfish desires, and so but I think where conviction and condemnation kind of gets blurred a lot of times in the church is, depending on that preacher's preaching style. He may be more fire and brimstone. There's other preachers that are more inclusive, and let's just talk about it. Let's just talk about life over a cup of coffee. And then you have the more fiery guys out there. There's no rhyme or reason. I've been convicted and hurt by both styles, honestly. Be honest, in my 44 years of life. So that there's not, I know we probably prefer the more inclusive. Hey, we're all struggling. We're all humans. We're all on this earth having a human experience. Jesus Christ lived 33 years and had human experiences. And so he understands when we're battling with something. We don't have a God that's not relevant to the human experience, but Christ came and had a human experience with us, so he can identify and know when we're struggling and stuff. So but yeah, conviction is a great thing. The word of God violating our selfish desires is a great thing. But I think sometimes some preachers and ministries, they go so far where conviction starts turning into condemnation, and people don't want to go to church to be condemned. Most people know that they're not living right, and so they don't want to go to church and be condemned or yelled at